at MetLife.
So that's starting position for New York. Can they make something of it? Wilson. Oh, that did not look good. And he just falls.
It's tough. We didn't do anything on offense, especially in the first three quarters.
And we're hearing the Boo Birds out for the first time in the rain. Jets fans are furious, Tony.
I mean, you can see it on the face, the frustration, and look at
On first down, play action. Over the top they go. And he's got Brown. And it's a touchdown, New England. Wow.
It starts with me. I got to find a way to be better.
Just what they didn't need.
Right now, Zach is the best player he's who gives us the best chance to win.
Right now, he's who gives us the best chance to win. You know, the right now in that statement doing some serious heavy lifting, isn't it? Let's welcome in Antwan Staley, working the Jets beat for the Daily News. Oh, I mean, Antwan, I thought they had a chance to win this game. Watching the way they played in this game, defensively especially, you hold the Patriots to 15 points. You should win this football game, but the quarterback is holding them back.
Yeah, really. It's the same story from last year. We saw a team that was ready to take that next step, had a championship-level defense, we felt like, and just the quarterback is holding the whole team back. And really, I think, frustration set in later on, late last season, too. And then that's why you end up seeing, Robert Saleh and company ended up benching Zach twice, really, last year. So I'm curious to see if they're going to continue to remain him. I actually asked Robert what they're going to remain. When do you feel like you can pull the plug on this? And he said Zach gives them the best chance to win. So, I mean, like I said before in my article that I wrote tonight, it's insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that's what the Jets are doing right now.
And in that article in the Daily News, you write that it is time for the Jets to pull the plug on the Zach Wilson experience. The question is, will they? I mean, Robert Saleh is saying he's our quarterback right now, and everybody's trying their best to boost Zach Wilson up. And, I mean, everybody here wants to see Zach Wilson succeed. I don't think there's anyone out there that doesn't want to see this kid pull it together, because it would be a fantastic comeback story. But will they, and are they in the back of their minds privately thinking this isn't going to work, we got to do something?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, you have to, especially with the defense that you have. You held the Patriots to 15 points. Last time you played the Patriots last year, you held them to 10 points.
Right.
And then one of those was like the punt return at the end. And you can't win that way. Like, yeah, something needs to happen.
And Zach had time to throw. I mean, Mekhi Becton struggled a little bit at left tackle there on that safety. But the offensive line that has kind of been revamped and worked around with Dwayne Brown out, it gave him time to throw today.
Correct.
I mean, there were receivers open at times down the field. He had time to throw.
Yeah, I think we talked about, like, a lot of news has been talked about Justin Fields and, like, his struggle with seeing the field. I think Zach Wilson has some of the same issues, too. You're just kind of overthinking. And I think, you saw the drive late in the fourth quarter. I think that was as comfortable as he was, running tempo offense, kind of what he did at BYU a lot, too. And I think that's something, if you're going to keep him as the quarterback, you have to do things that's going to make him comfortable. And I feel like the tempo offense really made him comfortable.
And as you're watching this drive, 87 yards, eventually leading to a touchdown. Look, I mean, he's hitting guys that are open. He's delivering the ball on the dime right here to Allen Lazard, who takes a big hit, and then Randall Cobb fighting his way for 12 yards. And he's making all the right decisions. And all of a sudden you're seeing, okay, we heard his footwork is great. We're seeing it. And you're starting to think, could there be progress from Zach Wilson? Are the Jets looking at this and thinking we can work with this still?
Yeah, they are. I mean, that's kind of their mindset. They feel like, throughout the course of training camp and the offseason, they feel like he's became more mature, more accountable as well. That's part of the reason why they ended up benching him last year. But they feel like his footwork has gotten better, his mechanics have gotten better, he's become more accurate. But yeah, you look at his stats, they don't reflect that. It looks like a quarterback that's gotten even worse, if that's possible.
It's like you go out and play golf. And I'm a terrible golfer, right? But I go out there and I'll have one good hit or maybe one good hole that keeps me coming back for more. And I feel like you see that one drive from Zach Wilson or that one throw that he makes, like in the preseason against the Browns. And maybe the Jets are looking at that and thinking, okay, we could still work with this. But look at these numbers. I mean, it's ugly.
Abysmal.
157 yards passing, 18 of 36 when they want him to be more efficient with the football. And I'm looking at the play calling and I'm wondering if they're holding back because they know they have to hold back.
Well, yeah, because
they're restricted.
Exactly. Like, you don't want him going like gunslinger because that brings out interceptions and a lot of bad play. But I also think that he's overthinking things, and I think you kind of saw that early in the game. Look at the 3 sacks. All of them was because he held the ball so long. Had he got the ball out, he never would have had a safety. And that safety was huge because now you needed a touchdown instead of a field goal to tie the game.
So, and you're trying to run the ball to help Zach, but I mean, you can't do that against Bill Belichick.
Yes.
He knows he's going to stack the box, and Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook just had 38 yards combined rushing the ball.
Correct. And also they took away Garrett Wilson for the most part, too. Bill Belichick takes away what he knows you do best. And, you know, the running game was non-existent. Garrett Wilson, until that one big catch, was pretty much, you know, eliminated throughout the whole game, too, as well.
And Garrett Wilson, you're seeing some signs of frustration on the sideline, and you're hearing it from Jets players, even though they're trying to do all the right things and say all the right things. And so as this, I mean, you're towing a line here because you have so much talent on this roster, and it is built to win now. And you've got a guy like Garrett Wilson who is electric, and he's trying to keep it together. But yet, you can't wait for Zach Wilson to figure it out. And I think I'm starting to wonder if that frustration is boiling over and you're going to lose that locker room.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think that's a fair assessment, too. And I think we also saw Michael Carter and the running backs coach for the Jets, Taylor Embry, also get into a bit of a heated exchange. Michael Carter was asked about that after the game, and he basically said he just chalked it up to 2 people wanting to be competitive. But ultimately, they want to win. The Jets expected to be Super Bowl contenders, playoff contenders, obviously, when Aaron Rodgers was there. And then even when Zach had took over, they thought, yeah, well, this team can still make the playoffs with special teams and playing really good defense. The way they're playing right now, this looks like a 5 or 6 win team.
Unless you can find someone to get in here and get up to speed and fix things. I mean, there was a report today that Matt Ryan had reached out to the Jets.
Yes.
The Jets said no. Carson Wentz had reached out to the Jets, according to Fox Sports and Jay Glazer, and the Jets said no thanks.
Yeah.
There are guys out there. Is there a fix for the Jets to go out, and will they try and work the phones and go out and do something?
You have to. I think you have. I think you owe it to your defense and the rest of the players on your team to at least try. Like, you don't want to just flush the season down the toilet. And you know, we're talking about a coaching staff and really Joe Douglas too. That's been on the hot seat too. I'm not saying they're going to lose their job this year, but if you lose 3 or 4, I mean, you win 3 or 4 games. I mean, I think all bets are off. So yeah, you're trying to. I know Aaron Rodgers is coming back, and you put all your eggs in that basket, but you owe it to the rest of your team to at least try to stay competitive. Otherwise, I think this team could be headed for a really, really steep decline.
Well, and Robert Saleh's in a difficult position right now because he's got a locker room that he's in danger of losing if they continue to do this and continue to run Zach Wilson out there and they don't get the results. If it works out, if Zach Wilson corrects it, then hey, great, everybody's starting to win again and everything's great. But it just doesn't feel like that's going to happen. What is he saying to his team to keep this together this week?
Well, I think
because the Chiefs are right around the corner.
Exactly. Like, I asked Robert Saleh, when is the point where you think about pulling the plug on the Zach Wilson experience? And he basically said, well, you know, it's early in the season. It's not going to get away from us. But, you know, you look at their schedule. They got the Chiefs next week. They got the Broncos, who it is a winnable game. But, you know, the way the Jets are playing, is any game really, you know, a lock? And then you got the Eagles after that before the bye week. This team could be 1-5 heading into the bye week.
Wow.
It's that simple.
Wow. And then the Giants, of course, and the Chargers, who put up a lot of points.
Exactly. And then you still, and that doesn't even include games against the Dolphins. You have 2 games against the Dolphins. You got a rematch against the Buffalo Bills later on in the season. The Falcons look like they're an improved team, and so is Cleveland. So this thing could go snowball in a hurry. Is
there even a quarterback out there that can honestly step in at this point? I mean, whether it's Carson Wentz, whether it's Matt Ryan.
Unless you want to trade for Kirk Cousins, basically, that's really.
Is that realistic?
I think it could be. I mean, the Vikings are 0-3, if you want to look at that route. But other than that, I don't know what it would take to get him. Maybe a first-round pick. But then again, I think for their sake, there know Aaron Rodgers is coming back next year. So even though Cousins isn't in the last year of his deal, they don't want to do anything that might jeopardize that.
Let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball. I mean, Sauce Gardner said today, like, I'm not worried about the offense. I'm worried about the fact that had we held them to 0, we win the game. And I get what he's trying to do there.
Yes.
But do you sense any frustration on that defensive side of the football? Because so much is being asked of them right now.
All I'll say is we went into the locker room and a lot of defensive players were gone by the time we got in there. Yes, they were gone. Like, we talked to Robert Saleh, we talked to Zach Wilson, and then by the time we got out of there, a lot of the players just took off.
That's unusual.
So that shows you the level of frustration. Maybe not necessarily with Zach, but just the way they lost. Like losing 15-10 like that has to weigh on you. And it definitely looks like last year, exactly like last year, the same formula, same results.
Yeah, and if we're being honest, I mean, Mac Jones is not a good quarterback.
No, he's average.
Yeah,
he's very average. And I think he was looking good like at times against the Jets defense, but at the same time, like he made enough plays for them to win the game. But he's an average quarterback.
I mean,
that's what it is.
The one busted coverage that they had today, and he goes for a 58-yard touchdown. And that's where the Jets defense is right now. Is you make one mistake, which is, the law of averages. It's going to happen through the course of a game, and that's the one that sinks you.
Exactly. We saw it last year with the game against the Lions. We saw it also against Seattle. Like, you're going to give up big plays throughout the course of the game. It's just not fair to ask your defense to hold opponents to 0 points every. You can't do that. You're not going to win like that in the NFL, and that showed you today, especially against a well-coached team like the Patriots.
Is there any reason for hope right now with this? I mean, can the defense hold it together enough to make this a competitive season, to make it a playoff season for the Jets as they had hoped?
I think eventually it's going to break because you have a defense that's going to wear down, and I think you kind of saw that even late last year. And again, it's not fair to them to have to be able to hold these teams down to 0. But to answer your question, I don't think this is a playoff team without Aaron Rodgers. I really do. And even with Aaron there, they still have some issues with the offensive line. Although I think it got a lot better when having Mekhi Becton at left tackle.
That's his natural spot.
Exactly. And Elijah Vera Tucker at right tackle, and Joe Tippin, the rookie. They did a solid job today. So that might be a solution for them at the offensive line position.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers down after 4 plays. Have you ever experienced anything like this? You guys ought to just be shaking your heads every week.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was that night. It just let the air out of the building, and basically the air is still being let out of the organization right now because we talk about the 5 stages of grief. I think the Jets probably are in level 1 or 2 right now.
Oh boy. Antwan Staley, thanks for bringing some knowledge in here and helping us understand this a little bit more.
All right, thank you.
All right, we appreciate the time. Check him out in the Daily News. And Zach Wilson may not look ready for prime time just yet, but the Jets say they're starting him in prime time a week from tonight. So here we go. Next week, Jets in action on NBC's Sunday Night Football. Yes, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And maybe Taylor Swift, we don't know, coming into town. Coverage starts at 7 p.m. with Football Night in America. And, of course, Bruce Beck and I will be there afterwards to wrap up the game for you right here on Sports Final. We'll try and get Taylor Swift as a guest. I don't know if we can book that. We'll see. It's now time for the Spectrum